Recording in progress.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a Mean Green Nation podcast. Welcome to it. Folks, we didn't get to do the Sunday show. I mean, we're a little sad, I guess. So I got to play the sad fight song music. I mean, we're still Mean Green, but we lost 63-36. You know, the thing about North Texas.
I'll say this about that.
Is that we can't lose in a normal way, right? It can't be like, just 35-28. It has to be 63-36. Like it has to be allow 5 touchdowns in the span of like 38 seconds, right? It can't be normal. It has to be North Texas, right? So it goes. It is what it is. We're gonna begin this show like roughly the first half. I don't want to talk about it too much because it hurts. But we'll talk about it, right? Because we got to. We didn't get to do the Sunday show because Aldo's busy, I don't know, buying pumpkins or buying little bottles of whiskey. See, it's blurred out. It's edited out.
The second bottle.
Yeah.
Doing baseball and also sad drinking.
Yeah. And then I had stuff going on, like it just is what happens, right? It's fine. We're here now. We're here with you. Hold my hand, like that song, right? Kiss Me Through the Phone, right? Classic song. Except just hold my hand through the earphones, right?
We've had enough time to dry our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that there's another game next week.
Yeah. All right.
So we're 5-1.
For a brief moment, for a lovely, beautiful moment. Let me look at camera 3 here because we got it working again. For a beautiful moment. Yeah, that was it. That was the omen. Camera 3 wasn't working. We knew something was gonna happen. We got it was a union guy. 1, 2, 3. We worked it out with the union rep. It's back in. For a beautiful moment, North Texas looked like a top 25 team.
Yeah, over a span of 6 weeks. Yeah.
Well, no, just in that game, I mean, right? Like right when Wyatt Young cut up the middle, spiked the ball, right?
We looked like we could compete.
21-14. And then we got 2 stops in there, right? Because I guess there was that first quarter, and if you watch the game, I did a little rewatch too. In that first quarter, USF was like moving the ball, right? It was like 9-yard gain, 15-yard gain, fumble, right? So you're like, ooh, that was close because they were gashing us there. And so you felt a little, okay, I got lucky, right? 3 turnovers in the first quarter. North Texas didn't capitalize on that. But you had hope, right? You had like a little inkling, like, you know what? Maybe they'll score, sure. But we got 2 stops, right? 2 short yardage stops. Made them punt the ball twice late in the second quarter. And so, if you're like me, you're feeling good, right? I thought North Texas was going to drive down and score there. And I don't want to go through the stat. I normally would go through the stats and start talking about some of that. I already kind of wrote about it, so I'll hit the high points, I think. Unless you have something specific you want to talk about in the stats. No.
Not regarding stats, no.
I think what stood out was 172 yards rushing in the second half. That's bad, right? Like they pretty much did whatever they want. I think the tempo and the lack of depth got to North Texas, and they were getting gashed. Second unit, first unit, everybody looked bad. We did try to spy Byron Brown with Witter, best linebacker or speediest linebacker. That didn't work. He just kind of outran him a few times. Had no answer, really. And that was kind of the deal. That's how they work things. They go high tempo, and by the end of the game, you're real tired. It's a very – now it's old school. Like, it's modern, but it's also old because Chip Kelly was doing this at Oregon in 2008, right? It's a long time ago, where he was saying, one way to be physical is to be in better shape, right? We're gonna go so high tempo. We're gonna run so many plays at like full speed, sprinting down the thing. You're not gonna be able to keep up. And everybody tries to go tempo and do all this other stuff, but teams that do it like this, they're they just look like a different team. Like they get stronger in the fourth quarter. All those cliches, right? It's old school football in a modern package, and they look dangerous down the stretch. USF did, and like I said, it's why a lot of teams, a lot of coaches start getting real hyped up about that kind of offense because when it's working, man, looks like the best offense there ever been was.
Well, here's my thoughts on how the game shaped up. Um, the defense forced turnovers in the first half. Right, they were playing, they were balling out, they were doing what they needed to do to help out the offense. The offense did as much as they could do against this South Florida defense, and that ended up being 21-14. That's not bad, right?
Yeah.
Up until the last couple of minutes of the first half. And I think at that point, I don't think you can point at the defense, you point at the offense, point at special teams. The wheels just fell completely off, and it's wasn't about game planning. It wasn't about this. It wasn't about that. It's just everything that could go wrong went wrong. That fumble by the punt return team, the interceptions by Mestamaker. It was miscues when should the receiver stop? Should the receiver have stopped, or should they had kept going? Should when the interception down the field, should Mestamaker had thrown that or thrown it down to person that was
Miles Coleman,
yeah, a dig route or whatever.
It was a crosser,
Or and then the passes from that I had talked about in previous games where he's throwing it to 22, triple covered, quintuple covered, whatever, but he's hitting him, and he's like, man, if it were any other team, that could have been intercepted. Well, that was that other team. This was that other team, and so they took advantage of all that.
So I'll say a couple things about that. Like I think things don't just happen. You turn the ball over more, and you move quicker when teams are bigger, stronger, faster than you are. Right? Like that's one of those things. Hold on, I'm gonna get a refill from Lady MGN real quick. Hold on. Look at this, guys. Look at that.
Bottle service.
Wow, sweet. That's why you go get married, folks. So you go to North Texas, become a North Texas man. Yeah. So like bigger, stronger, faster dudes, right? Make you move. You think you have to try extra hard. You get out of your comfort zone. You get out of your practice zone, right? Maybe you try. These steps you got it. You're comfortable. Now you're like, oh, I got to go faster. You move quicker. You take shortcuts. You haven't practiced the shortcut, right? Now you try to do extra things. You try to throw it harder, higher, whatever. You throw it quicker. Go through your progressions. You start guessing maybe instead of reading, and that's how you make mistakes. I'll say because I wrote about the three interceptions. We'll talk about those in depth in a second. But I just want to say there's the two things that came up in the immediate aftermath of the game. One was like Eric Morris's play calling got us in trouble, and I don't buy that. I just do not buy that at all. There were a lot of people saying like if we didn't get pass happy. Andre Ware was saying that he's like, well, they kind of got away from him, got a little pass happy there. I went back, looked at it. There were two plays, right? And then like it was not even Caleb Hawkins' series, right? The one in particular we're talking about around the 6-minute mark when North Texas got to stop. We're up 21-14, get the ball back, and we're feeling good, right? We just drove down the field. Eric Morse is clicking. He dials up a little slant pattern to Simeon Evans. It's a little bit in front of him. Bad throw. I couldn't really see it in depth, but you just look at it, and the announcers say, "Oh, it was a little bit in front of him, but it was zipped there. Incomplete pass." Okay, fine. I don't hate that. It was open. You make that play. You throw the ball. Sometimes you're gonna miss. I don't like second guessing and be like, "Oh, well, right there, because that play shouldn't work. Therefore, you should have ran the ball." Right? Because if they run for a 1-yard gain, then you're like, "Why didn't we throw the ball?" Right? It's easy to second guess. The thing is, like in the shape of the game, is this a bad play? No, it's not. Right? Your quarterback, who's dealing up to that point, had only thrown one interception in his whole season, right? He's throwing it to a wide open receiver on a slant pattern. Is that bad? It's not. Let's keep it moving, right? Make a mistake, fine. Next play, we hand off to the running back whose series it is, right? Mackenzie McGill, who was the number one running back for North Texas all the way up until Caleb Hawkins just basically booted him, not for lack of good play, but just because he's just playing better. Mackenzie McGill gets 3 yards. Is that bad? It's not. It's not great, but we're 3rd and 7, which is not terrible. And then Drew Mestermaker makes a fantastic play. And I linked this on the blog. Go to the site, meangreennation.com. Look at the UTSA. It's a preview. UTSA Hate Week is the title. Click that, and then you can scroll down and you can see the thing. Read the whole thing, though. Mestermaker.
Do I have to?
Yeah, you got to read it. And then so the dude, the linebacker's coming right at him. He gives him a little shaky bake, gets past him, 7-yard gain, 8-yard gain on 3rd and 7. Beautiful play by our starting quarterback, right? That's exactly what you need. Made a guy miss, gets forward for a first down, North Texas at midfield. And then it's the interception, right? So then you're like, oh, what do we do? Why are we trying to do this? It's the 50-yard line, right? For as long as I've been watching football, which is, goes back to John Madden, like, here's a guy, all that stuff. 50-yard line, that's shot time. Everybody knows it's play action, throw it deep, right? Maybe you try the trick play, the little flea flicker. I believe it's right on the same area. That's where South Florida did their double pass, right? This is where you go for it. Everybody knows it's so ingrained in football that the trick play at midfield, it might as well be a fullback dive into the line because everybody knows that's what you do, right? You start looking for it. Immediately after turnover, you start looking at it. They're going to try to throw it in the touch because that's what everybody happens. It has so much success. You're just staring at it. Just like 3rd and long. Look out for the draw. What are they going to do? They're going to try. They're going to fake it. They're going to hand it off. This is what they do. So then, to me, it was an execution, right? So you're saying, like, who did he throw it to? And I looked at it, and it's, let's say, 30% quarterback fault here. Right? I guess you could always say there's baseline 50% quarterback fault because you have the ball, right? You're the one throwing the ball. You could always just eat it. He gets a little bit of rush at his feet, and he starts backing up, throws off his back foot. So that's immediately not good. And to me, that indicates that South Florida was getting to him. It's into the first half. He's getting hit. He realizes, like, the guys are coming at him. And if rewatching that first half, all the plays that he made, he was making them with guys in his face, right? And that's literally what all defense coordinators want to do. Skylar Cassidy, we talked about this all season, where he says, can the quarterback continue to be resilient, continue to make plays while he's getting hit? Eventually, he's going to be like, I don't want to get hit anymore, right? And he's going to start cheating. I think Drew Mestermaker started cheating. He started moving, getting happy feet, getting out, and instead of standing tall, firing it in there, he kind of like leaned back and threw it. Didn't want to get hit. Again, normal human stuff. Here's a play I don't know. I don't know. Typically on these kind of sail routes or these crosser, a deep cross, that vertical route, the one landing sides run, is a clear out route. It's like sometimes a peak. Guys teach it differently. It depends on your offense. But basically you say you just run deep. You get outside release and you get deep. Why outside release? So the cornerback can turn his face, right? He's facing you on the sideline. A lot of, pretty much every DB is going to run with you, looking at you, and then play the ball. So your whole idea is to take him out to play. Now, there's a peek route because if you're open, right, let's say the guy slips, the quarterback gets it, he takes a peek at you, and he's like, oh, I have it. Let me throw it. Easy 6. So you take a peek. Brett Favre, there's the famous play where he was always supposed to go to the tight end, but he was like, there's a vertical route here. I'll throw that, let's throw it down the field. And so then they eventually changed the play to that'd be the first option. But yeah, he looks, landing sides wins, but he wins inside. And I don't think you're supposed to. It's like you see him on playbooks all the time. It's mandatory outside release. Why? Because the play is really designed for the crosser, right? You clear out, the crossing route beats him. And I think, this is part of it's hard to tell, Drew Mestermaker was throwing that one. He's like leading him, I'm going to throw it out. I don't know. If he's throwing to landing sides, it's also a bad throw. I don't know that he saw the cornerback there. I don't know that he was looking at the cornerback because he saw the defense he's looking for, man-to-man. I have my deep crosser. This is where I go with the ball. He should be open. I'll lead him, throw him to the sideline. That's where I'll air to the sideline. Turns out the DB was looking at the ball. Again, that's why you don't beat him inside because the DB's looking at the field and you can see the ball. And then he made the adjustment. That ball's thrown outside because it's supposed to be outside where you can do like a fade route. The receiver can turn, catch it back shoulder, all that good stuff. I think that's on Landon sides. That's my 2 cents. So that moment is that play calling? I don't think so. You're taking a shot, and it's also a safe shot. If that's incomplete, it's 2nd and 10 from midfield. We're not in a bad position, right? I think that North Texas offense can get 10 yards in 2 plays.
Yeah, the ball was underthrown. Sides has to slow down. He has to look for the ball because he doesn't even know where it
He
is.
needs to be
And by
outside.
that point, it's picked. Um, so it's execution, right?
Yeah,
And there's poor execution in a lot of different places.
yeah.
In special teams that kicked off the
Yeah, because
things
after
breaking
that
down.
interception, we forced a stop. We get a stop, 3 down, and we're 20 minutes or so in this one. So I'm gonna speed us up. I apologize here, Aldo. I'm cutting you off. I know.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no.
we forced a stop, and then the muff punt. Right, that one. I don't know what you do. You can't. You gotta catch
Yeah,
that. That's execution.
or let it go. I feel like it was inside the five
Yeah,
or ten.
the
Let it
previous
go.
punt, he let it go. He did the right thing. Just get out the way. Again, that's just bad, and that's college football for you. So the first interception, I also think, guys in his face. He had to make a decision. I see what he said. You just look at slow motion. The linebacker's walling off the vertical route. It's a little corner with two inside. I think they call it China. Two slants. Two slant route, two little levels, like a little levels play, and that corner one, the inside right, the third receiver, he goes vertical, runs corner route. They had it. It looks like they're blue two, whatever it's called. Um, that linebacker is walling off the vertical route, but he immediately sees the slant, so he turns and picks it up. He not only turns, usually you're supposed to get it and cut it off. He turns and tries to find the ball. That's great linebacking play by him. I think the mistake by Drew Mastermaker, I think he saw that was going to be open and just flung it in there. Right. I've also made that mistake in the video game. Right. You see the same thing, you throw it, and I'm like, oh, the linebacker would never be able to do it, but then you see it right here. I think that the second slant that comes in is supposed to be the throw, but there's a guy in his face, so he's like, oh, he's going to be open in the middle. There should be touchdown. Oh, it turns out guy makes a great play. I think it's mostly a great play by the linebacker. Maybe Drew Mastermaker's supposed to just eat that because it's not wide ass open. It's not available to him. Just eat it.
I
That
mean, he's a
yeah yeah
he's a gunslinger, and I feel like I don't know, without knowing the actual play, I don't know if the receiver is supposed to sit before the linebacker or if he's supposed to cross in front of the linebacker before finding the soft zone.
I
And so
I do know that play
what
because that plays like in every playbook. If you read like all everybody, it's that corner one's supposed to. It's a clear out route, but it's also the number one option. And if that's not there, you have the two slants underneath, right? It's supposed to. It's beating everything. They
Oh,
sit in
sorry,
the
I
hole.
thought we were talking about the second interception.
No, this is the first one. This is the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
So then Carnes is supposed to run through it. I think Carnes didn't continue running. He got to run through that. And then the second one, Landon Sides is coming behind him on another slant. So that one's supposed to be open for something. Whatever. Like I said, I think you see what you see what Drew Mastermaker saw, and you can't really blame him. I think it's mostly a great play by the linebacker. The third interception, that's all Drew Mastermaker. They had
Well,
edge
yeah,
rushers.
yeah.
They
Okay,
come
before
right.
before you move on to
What
the
was that?
third
Right
one.
tackle got beat. Left tackle got beat. Just eat the sack, man. And then there's a low man in the hole, right? Low hole rat player playing the little crossing route. He sees him break. He knows he's supposed to be open, but I think he sees the guy covered him late, so he throws it high, like I'm about to be hit. But also let me just throw it and throw it over that guy. It throws it high, or he throws it high. Interception, classic, late over the middle and high. It's literally
Yeah,
why
and
you designed that defense there, so you can throw that.
each of those plays has somebody not executing at 100%, with South Florida's defense taking full advantage of that, right? And you watch them. If you're I didn't watch a replay or anything like that, but I'm watching it live, and I'm seeing the defense, South Florida's defense, react to the play like they've seen it before, like they've watched the tape, like they know what to expect, and they're reacting and they're in the right place to either make a game breaking tackle or the interception or forcing a fumble. So they knew what was coming, they were prepared, and they executed. The North Texas defense, on the other hand, did not look like they knew what was going on. You know, that double pass or that flea flick or whatever that was, where the
Get it
guy
to be
goes
first and
to
20,
the
whatever.
the receiver throws the touchdown pass.
Yeah.
And you see it unfold, and I immediately start yelling at the TV for the linebacker to go, like keep covering, He's going to go behind you, and of course it's wide ass open, and the receiver makes a play, and the other receiver makes a play, and scores a touchdown. And you didn't see that confusion with South Florida's defense. Yeah, we scored.
Yeah, I don't think you saw it as often. And let me say, just like, because like I said, I see the time clicking away here, and I want to get to the UTSA game. I'll say that I agree with you, and I think it was more evident later, because I think South Florida makes you tired, right? They go so fast, you get mentally tired. It's hard to stay locked in, to be ready, to make your reads. And that's literally why they go so fast.
To be confident in what you're supposed to do.
So you go up there and you have to, it's again, you're like, oh, okay, what? And then you're getting tired. You can't think anymore. Now you forget, you make one mistake, or you cheat, and the guys are running free, wide open. That's what they do to you. I think that their defense was very physical. They made North Texas play quicker. They made Drew Messamaker play a lot quicker. All three of his interceptions had a little bit of a guy running in your face, right? The first one, it was a 4-man rush, but the guy was getting beat. He's in his face. He can't see it. He sees the read that he thinks he's supposed to make, and then he makes it. It's not a terrible play, but then the second interception, guy's at his feet. He's backing up. Bad technique. He sped him up. Bad execution by the wide receiver. Interception for South Florida. Third interception was the worst. Both tackles got beat. 4-man rush. They just had the perfect defense. They rushed 4, right? But guys are getting beat. And then they have, like you said, they were ready for it. Yeah. You rush 4, you have hey, we're gonna play man with a guy in the low hole here, right? So to cover any crossing routes. And we had a crossing route. And that's like I said, it's literally the defense that you designed for that kind of thing. And, they're sitting there waiting for it. They executed it because they got pressure on the quarterback. As the game went on, they got more and more pressure on our QB, and you could see it. Credit to them. They like I said, they kicked ass, right? And I don't know if you listen to your kids or all that other stuff. That's the word for it. They didn't kick our butt. They kicked our ass. It was a beat down physically and mentally, especially as the game went on.
But I do want to give credit to the North Texas defense. Yes, they allowed a lot of touchdowns towards the end, right? Although
63
two
points.
Two or three were scooping scores by South Florida. Anyway, they were physical too. They forced those 3 fumbles in the first half.
And got an interception.
Or interception and what have you. Guys got hurt on both sides of the ball. It was a physical game from both sides. And North Texas did great in the run D. It was the pass defense that was a little bit more questionable, and I think that part of that was what you're talking about, that tempo, not being able to have enough time to make the read, make the play, really know what was going to happen until you see it unfold in front of you. And that's credit to the South Florida offense. North Texas offense kind of just fell apart. I don't know.
Well, I wrote about this too.
Like,
when it was close, right? And I said this again. I think they're evenly matched teams. When it was close, North Texas was moving the ball. When it was not close, North Texas one-dimensional, right? And then South Florida, their strength, like their pass rush, their defensive line, is pinning their ears back, and they're coming after us. And North Texas scored 2 touchdowns in the second half, right? Scored 3 in the first when they were able to run the entire offense. And then, like I said, they were moving the ball up and down the field. And the opposite way, like let's say South Florida goes down, right? Like to your point, right? Let's say North Texas capitalizes fully. And again, credit to USF for preventing this from happening. Let's say North Texas capitalized fully on like the early turnovers and gets up 21 points. Now South Florida can't just lean on you and run the ball all the time. Now they got to drop back. When they were most vulnerable? When they were dropping back, straight dropbacks from Byron Brown.
Yeah, those 2 fumbles led to an interception because they were out of
he threw a terrible interception, and then he got sacked twice, right? Like we were sacking the dude. We were making him make mistakes, and we said before the game, in the lead up to it, that the dude makes mistakes. Byron Brown makes mistakes. His numbers are great, but if he has to, again, everybody, if you have to,
But he
if,
was the most accurate
yeah,
in all season long.
yeah,
He threw his best passes this game against North Texas.
yeah, yes, that's true. But also, like, he didn't have to really. Uh, I said he had to throw from behind against what do they call it? Miami and Florida and Boise State, at least for a little bit. Against North
For a
Texas, he
little
was
bit,
down for a
but
little bit, and then he did. He threw interceptions, right? He threw interceptions. He got sacked. He doesn't really see the field that great. And like I said, what he's great at is running at you. And he was like a second fullback. He's a little Cam Newton kind of deal there. And he ran all over North Texas when he needed to. It worked out for them because North Texas didn't play very great. Didn't take full advantage. Those 3 interceptions were killer, especially the first 2. That the scoop and score, the Simeon Evans fumble, that was terrible. The muffed punt, that was terrible. I mean, and then there were also drops, right? North Texas did what you said. North Texas was who we thought they were. Also, we had some drops in the second. That first, it was like 5 wide. Drew Mastermaker drops a dime to Trey Williams, and he just drops it. Yeah,
he drops it.
Missed opportunities the whole way. Now, all that to say, we're gonna see something similar in this game against UTSA. They have had a powerful run game for years. I was reviewing it right now. Since 2020, they haven't ran for less than 200 yards against North Texas, right? They like to run against us. Some of that is because we're terrible. They ran for 400 yards against us in 2020, and I was reminded briefly of how North Texas was terrible that season. We allowed 500 yards rushing to App State in that one. It was basically anybody who was like, they had a carry, had a career day, right? There's like 4 or 5 guys. I broke it down one year where like 5 dudes had their career best yardage totals against North Texas. Like 200 yards, 300 yards, 170 yards by this guy. The backup dude from Appalachian State had a career day. And so they killed us then. They killed us last year, just running all over us too. Lots of, just running all over North Texas. North Texas is not a great run defensive team so far, right? We're looking at that. I take a little solace, and I said this in the post today, that we're not allowing 6 yards per carry, right? It's like 4.5, 4.6 or something like that, which I think is an indicator that it's volume, right? Your armies and that kind of stuff. A little bit of South Florida. South Florida blew us out the water in the second half there. But I think it's an improved rush defense.
I don't think the defense is bad. The
reason to be average.
or even I think they're actually pretty darn good because the teams we've faced this year have been like purposely run heavy teams. Like that is their bread and butter, is running the ball. Army is the most extreme example of it. But now, and you see it with South Florida, they run the ball.
Yeah.
Let me peek at how many times they ran it. 57 rushes for South Florida versus 29 rushes for North Texas. That is insane. That's a lot of rushes, and I think it's just volume against North Texas over the past this whole season. South Alabama, I've forgotten all the teams we've played, but we have
Army,
gone
Western
against
Michigan, South Alabama. I think the ones that we don't care about are like Lamar. We don't care how many times they're running the ball. It's not going to really do anything.
So those 3 teams, I think we talked about last time. 2 of those teams are in top 10 in rush attempts per game, and then the second one is a top 25 in rush attempts per game. So we have gone against very run-heavy teams, and we're going to go against another run-heavy team next week. So I feel confident about our rush defense being at minimum average. UTSA's run defense is actually pretty stout. But also, I don't know if that's because their pass defenses
they haven't played anybody.
Advantage of.
This really is. So, I was looking at it again today. They played Texas A&M to start the season, and they ran pretty well against them. I think Robert Henry was killing everybody in those first couple games. He was like 150 yards a game for a while there. The last 2 games, he's been bottled up. Now, Rice, I don't know how much. I didn't watch a lot of this game. I watched the beginning of it. I don't know. They were just like, all right, let's pack it in, bud. We don't need you to run for 300 yards when we're up by 50. So he didn't run for a whole lot. Temple did the best job of bottling that dude up. And Temple's a weird case because I saw them play very well against Navy. Right, they almost beat Navy. They beat UTSA 27-21. They almost beat Navy. Temple's looking a little scary right now. I gotta say, I think Casey Keeler's a good coach.
Yeah.
Wait, I'd rather have played Temple early than late because late they're gonna be sort of in their final form, kind of rounded into shape, that kind of thing. But UTSA is a weird squad because I respect their talent on their defensive line mostly. I say this every season. They have a very good recruiting history on their defensive on the defensive side of the ball. I think their game notes even mention it. They've had like 9 deep. They started 12 dudes against Texas A&M. They really like their depth along the defensive line. A lot of good teams do, right? I think that's one thing that North Texas has been trying to build to. We haven't had a very good defensive line since, I don't know, 2013, 2014. We had 2 guys in 2021, but I mean, where's the depth? We need depth. We need to build that. We're getting a little bit of that this season when we lost 2 dudes this time.
Yeah, and we've had individual contributors during that time, but not a fully rounded defensive line squad.
Where you can go like, hey, these 2 lines right here can start, across the league. So their scoring defense, right? They allowed 42 to A&M, 43 to Texas State, which I think is the most indicative. Texas State's not even that good this season, and Texas State runs a very similar offense to what we have, right? So I think that's the one where you can say, all right, what did Texas State do, and can we replicate that? I think so, right? Texas State had 5 touchdowns against them, couple field goals, and then everybody else passed that. Incarnate Word's terrible. They're terrible. They're not even good. They're usually good at the FCS level, but they're not good this season. I think they exhausted all the magic there.
They still passed over 300 yards on UTSA.
Yeah, and they scored 20, right? And then so Colorado State scored 17. They won, and they're a terrible offense. Temple did some nice things, but Temple's not very good yet. And then Rice, they went down to the 3rd-string quarterback who was injured already. Or it's like 3rd or 4th-string quarterback. It was like a comedy of errors for Rice. It was pretty terrible for that one. So you can't really take a whole lot from that game. Their defense, UTSA's, had 3 scores. Just kind of crazy. A lot of tackles for loss. So everything gets real skewed by that game, that Rice game. But I'll say that UTSA does typically get tackles for losses with their defensive line, and they like to run the ball. And that's exactly what USF did. I don't think that UTSA is as good as USF, right? So this is like a chance to do it again, but against a worse team, right? with the settings turned out. Maybe you played the game on Heisman. You're like, okay, let's turn that down a little bit, right? Let's go All-American now. And that's kind of it, right? UTSA is going to try to run the ball. I think North Texas is going to be able to stop that better because they don't have that quarterback threat to run the ball. Now, Jeff Traylor decided to take over play calling duties, and they like to do a lot of play action. They like to do a lot of eye candy. You'll see guys come running, fake run, fake turn, spin, roll out, throw, a little screen pass this way, that way. So it's not like Traylor's calling new plays. He's just calling the same plays that they've already practiced in just a different way. They came out firing. They scored some touchdowns. Whatever. They're still going to try to run the ball. Again, last 6 games against us, 443 yards rushing, 205 yards rushing, 257 yards rushing, 227, 287, 302. We know what they want to do. They want to run the ball against us. They will try to run the ball against us. They're going to say, all right, it didn't work the first time. Let's do it again. And they're going to test it. I think this is a chance for North Texas to exercise the little demons, right, and say, all right, let's stop the run. If you stop the run, I do not fear Owen McCown. He might get some passes. He might, do a little this and that. But I think you can get to him. You can rattle him. Then he'll make some mistakes, especially on the road. He's very comfortable at home. We saw that last season. Threw for like 300 yards, whatever it was at home. But on the road, right, against ECU last year, against Temple this year, against lots of teams, he starts throwing interceptions. He'll give you the ball. And I think North Texas, we know North Texas is a team that likes to take the ball away. We got 3 turnovers against the USF, so I feel good about that. I think we'll get a couple turnovers in this one. And the question is, can we go score with that opportunity? All the way up until USF, that's been a yes. Against USF, that was a no.
Through half of USF.
I mean, like, I'm talking about like scoring off of turnovers. I mean.
They scored once.
Yeah, we had
Once out of
7. We
three.
had 7, but like in the whole season, it was like we're getting like 7 out of 8 or whatever it was. I forget it. But we're scoring
Which is
touchdowns
still a
off
good
those.
good clip. Um, what I will say is that UTSA, like you said, will run it against us. They will get yards against us. North Texas is disruptive on defense and will force those turnovers, whether it's on the ground or in the air. The key here is North Texas hungover from this last game, and will they be able to overcome mentally what just happened to them right this last week? Will they come back and like have revenge
Revenge on their
in,
minds.
yeah, on their minds, or are they mentally like beat down and it's going to be the start of some, snowball effect? That's where my mind is going, because we've seen this before where we're doing great and then it falls apart. um I feel like this is a little bit of a different team, and that we can turn this around. UTSA is no slouch, right? Even though we say, McCown Kid is not a world beater, but we do it to ourselves, and we allow teams to stay in there, and we let teams go into overtime against us. So that's what I'm watching out for early on, is this team put the last game behind us, or are they gonna come back and this is a brand new game and then opportunity to go 6-1 instead of 5-2?
Yeah, so that's always the thing, right? Like, I think somebody tweeted this. I forget who it was. I apologize. They were saying like, yeah, like you look before the season, and then you pencil in some wins, and then as the season goes on, you're like, I don't know that pencil. Well, that might have been bold there. Like maybe it's 3 loss, 2, whatever. You never know, and that's the beauty of the game, right? Like it's sort of to set your expectations, but then you adjust your expectations as you go. Like I said, Temple is bad, right? They're not a good team. Casey Keeler is a good coach. So the nature of building a team is that, not everybody can be Signetti over there in Indiana, right? Just completely turn it around. If they were, he wouldn't be, famous right now, getting a lot of love. That's what happens. By the way, bad news. Camera 3 is like stuck. It's frozen. I don't know. It's me making a great point.
Best
right there.
camera.
Just wants to capture that moment for all time. You know what I'm saying? Is that like, you don't know. He's building that team, right? When they were playing UTSA, I was watching some of that game. At halftime, they were like, this is not, I've never been embarrassed to be a Temple head football coach, but right now I am. And then they came out and they just dominated the second half, and they won the game. Against Navy last week, they played a great game, and they had Navy beat. They went down, scored the game, they went up. And then Navy just on 4th and 1, Horvath scores from the 50, a 50-yard run on 4th and 1, touchdown. Then they go for 2 because they're being bold about it, and they win by 1 point. That's how it was, right? Navy is one of the best teams, undefeated right now because of that win. But Temple had them on the ropes, you know what I mean? So they're going to be good, right? They're getting better. So, like, yeah, beating them, you got to still have a lot of room for error, but they're closing that gap. They're saying we're going to play hard. We're not going to beat ourselves as often. So if you're not playing to the best football that you can play, you might get into a scrap that you're not ready for, right? And then, then it becomes down to a possession where luck is involved. You know what I mean? The refs are calling this or that, whatever the case may be.
Oh, and never having watched a single Temple game, I question whether Temple is actually bad. They are 3-3. They've won against teams. The other 2 wins that they've got is Massachusetts and Howard.
Yeah, not good.
Not non-good teams. They beat UTSA.
Yeah.
What does that say about UTSA? What does that say about Temple? I don't think Temple is that bad of a team. They had Navy on the ropes. I don't think that Temple is that bad.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's a new coach, right? New system. It's like they can't be good, but they might be better than you think. But they were a bad team last year. They ended the
series. They're vulnerable.
Yeah, so and I don't know that all the guys that he got in there just trying to recruit. I don't know that it's just like a complete turnaround. Like we got 5 star. It's not that situation, right? It's like I don't know. We'll see what they have. But again, the point is that you go through all of that. The same thing is going to happen with UAB next year, right? They fired Dilfer finally. Now suddenly they're gonna get a bounce. They're gonna get a new it's gonna change. You don't know what you're gonna have there. They're not gonna be good, right? Like a program like Memphis that's been building, like Tulane that's been building for a long time. Even USF that's been building year 3 of this thing. They have guys. They have depth. That's usually what it is, the depth, and then they start adding pieces, filling in gaps that they couldn't fill out here. They what, we looked at a team last year. We really know that we need this guy, and then you start filling it, and then suddenly it takes them to the next level. Everybody else is in the middle, and you're like, if these 5 guys don't play well enough, then you never know what's going to happen out there. Good.
It's spurring another thread of conversation, which we might save for later, but it's something that North Texas has not been able to do, is get that depth, because they keep losing absolutely everybody, right? This is the 3rd year in a row that we've had to replace a good chunk, right? 70 something people, 70 something scholarships this year. I think 50 something the year before, 30 something the year before that. You losing starters every year. More, I mean, everybody loses starters, but we're losing more starters, I feel like, more than others.
More often.
And I think this is reminding me of what I wanted to talk about at the very beginning, is that even though this was a humongous loss on national television, uh, hold on to that feeling. And if you don't want that to happen again, donate to the NIL, instead of complaining about what I'm complaining about, right? The disparity in players, disparity of recruiting and stuff like that. Donate to that NIL and make sure that the organization, the team has enough funds to be able to keep guys or bring guys that and win recruiting battles we shouldn't normally be winning. And that'll keep that retention for longer. That'll keep that churn, that turnover at a minimum, and be able to pull out these games or stay close in these games than we have been.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. Like, it has to be NIL, and I think a lot of these programs, like Memphis, they have like FedEx supporting them, and then like USF, they have like some they're in a bigger town, they have they have some NIL money. I think North Texas needs to prove it on the field a bit, and then you get that right. It's hard to say invest in us. We've never done anything, right? And you're like, I don't know.
Which Eric Morse is now doing, right? And he's had top 10 offenses, but like bottom of the barrel defenses, which he cannot overcome until this year. Finally, he's getting attention, which is awesome. This was the battle of the G5 game of the year kind of narrative from social media, from sports media, which is great attention for us, and we should continue that momentum, keep going. While our playoff hopes were completely crushed after this game, ranking hopes were completely crushed. We're still in contention for the conference title. We're still, bowl eligibility is going to be there. If this momentum keeps going, then we'll be placed on a really good bowl, get some more attention, bring more money.
But the thing is, like, it's the same thing with Latrell, right? You gotta do the next thing, and we've been saying this a ton. It's kind of old hat. You gotta win these kinds of games, right? And like, it was a pick 'em. I don't like the way it ends. I think that hurts Eric Morris. I think it hurts everybody to get. I know it's homecoming. It hurts to the attendance. I know it's also at 2:30. It's very difficult to get anybody out there. Whatever, but it hurt because they lost, and it hurt the way that they lost. They had a lot of attention out there. There was like 1.1 million people watching on ESPN2 on a Friday night. That was an opportunity to get more shine, and they missed it. Right, that was the worst part of the game. Not even the loss is bad, but everybody's like, all right, North Texas. A percentage of people said North Texas is not for real. Turned it off. I'm not going to pay attention to them. That was the opportunity, and that was the worst part.
100%.
You can win some of that back, but it's like getting a mortgage, right? You're not gonna. It's not a 1-for-1. The hype that was there,
battle.
The hype that was there Thursday night is not going to be the same hype that's going to be there if you win. 5-1 is not 6-0, right? So it's not 7-0. That's right. The thing. So
you'll have to win another 5 in a row to continue that momentum
to get a portion of it. It's a portion of it, because the thing is that you got to go to the championship game, right? You got to do that. You got to beat UTSA. UTSA is beatable. What's the line on this game? I didn't even see that. I didn't check it.
I don't know. You keep going. I'll check it out.
Okay. you got to beat UTSA to keep the momentum, and UTSA is beatable. I think USF was beatable, but even then, there's a talent disparity. I think USF has a lot of talent defensively, but so did South Alabama, so does UTSA, so does like Memphis, everybody else there. You don't have to go through an onslaught of these teams. You just have to beat the one or two on the way, right? We said this preseason, and it's still the case. Maybe some teams are better than we thought they were going to be, but I think North Texas is better than some teams thought they were going to be. It's a situation where you're going to have an opportunity. USF at home, UTSA at home, Navy at home, right? You win those games, very winnable type games, and that sets you up for a difficult game, right? So you just got to win the one. And that difficult game is going to be the conference championship game, if you can get there, right? And you know what? It might even set up where you don't even play a conference championship game. And then so the difficult one is the bowl game, right? You play sort of relatively local, and then you beat that team. But it's a good team. It's not going to be a slouch. And that was the problem with all those other years. I think it would have been better if North Texas didn't go to a bowl game because they're not a good team a lot of those years. And so you're setting everybody up.
That's
and then
fair.
you're like, look at me. I haven't studied for the test. I didn't practice my dance. And I'm going to dance for you. And you're like, what? You didn't? What did you say you didn't practice? Yeah, look at me. And then you fall on your face. You're like, well, I don't want to watch this kid dance anymore because they suck, right? So you got to be a good team. That's sort of why you have the 6-win thing there. You got to be a good
build
team.
a brand.
Yeah, and that's how you do it. You have to be good enough to put on a show, and I think North Texas is good enough to do that. But you got to win these games, though. You got to get a little luck. You got to put it together.
Right. And I don't think we're good enough yet because we don't have that depth. We don't have that historical depth on the team. If we're able to keep this team together for the next 2 years, then yes, I think.
I don't think we're good enough to say we should win that game. Right, I don't think we're good enough to go against South Florida and say, all right, we should be 5-point favorites. But with the right amount of luck, right, the right, hey, don't beat yourself, don't muff a punt, you give yourself a chance. And I think that's it.
Yeah,
that's really it.
I think we shot ourselves in the foot to be able to at least be in the game. We may not have been able to, if we played this game 10 times, we may have won it once. But I think the one time that it was a blowout loss was the one we saw. And then the other 8 would have been like a field goal. And then we would have won another one, right? South Florida is just that much better. And those losses by a field goal would be a much better brand, much better game, much better feeling than what happened last Saturday. We're 3.5 favorites, by the way, against UTSA.
I think that's about right. But I'll say this part is like, because I think I'm a little bit more bullish than you are on this. I think that it could have been where North Texas blows them out, right? Like, I think that was the case. I think they were evenly matched, right? There's weaknesses, and like a lot of it is like South Florida has a lot of talent. They have and they did have a lot of talent.
Bigger, faster, stronger.
But their quarterback, like I say, if you put their quarterback in a situation where he has to throw the ball because they're in a deficit, I think North Texas is in a good spot. But
yeah, you're right. Their entire offense runs through him.
Yeah, we couldn't get him in that spot because we didn't take advantage. We got the luck early, right? Fumble, interception. You capitalize on those. You get those touchdowns early, and then you hold on. But I think South Florida probably tries to throw the ball a little bit more. You get a couple more interceptions. Suddenly it's a blowout win for North Texas, and we look real good. That was always my contention. Yeah. And, it happened the other way in this case, where North Texas turned the ball over 5 times. Scoop and score.
I think fast forward a few years, and North Texas has built a brand in this hypothetical. A 5-0 North Texas doesn't seem as much as a paper tiger, because if you look at Memphis Tigers, they have had a worse strength of schedule than we have. I think they're ranked 127, and we're like 123 or something like that in terms of strength of schedule. They're undefeated, but nobody's questioning their strength of schedule, while all we've gotten is that lambasted for an easy schedule. Memphis has had an easier schedule up to this point.
Yeah, and I think the reason is that Memphis has been good for multiple years, right? Last year they were the most talented team. Yeah. I mean, but it's brand, but it's substance though, right? Memphis was good last year. They're good this year. They were good 2 years ago. They've been
well, that's what I mean is with that substance they create a brand. We have not had that. We've got some momentum going. We've got the Stone Cold celebration. We've got the CEO of Poppy coming in.
I would say I think all the things you're saying are those are like like the stuff around it, right? You have to have a good team. North Texas, I think you mentioned this though. The offense has been good for 3 years, right? Top 10 offense is good quarterback. That's part of brand building, reputation building. What's North Texas? They always have a good offense, right? The coach is always getting the quarterbacks out there. They've not been a winning football team, though, right? North Texas hasn't had a winning football team. Even for anything. No conference championships. Just 3, Seth Luttrell, lots of offense, right? Mason Fine, great. A couple of championship game losses. 5 straight bowl losing streak, right? You got to win those things. You got to win. Just win.
I agree with you there, but I think in order to get, maybe it's a chicken or the egg kind of thing, but in order to get that stuff.
What does North Dakota State have? They have wins.
FCS titles.
Yes, exactly. I can tell you what kind of offense they have, right? I don't care what celebrations they have. You know what they got? They got wins. They go win. You go there to win. They don't care what colors they have, the uniforms they have. They have winning. That's what they have.
I think this is the beginning, right, of building that up. And so if we were 0-5, 0-6, nobody would be caring about these stone cold celebrations. They would not be making the rounds.
Yeah, it has to be because you
win.
Who
cares?
Because you
right.
win. Yeah.
And so the wins have been there, and then this aura of fun, of high-powered offense, of Stone Cold Steve Austin has added to that charm, to that that brand that we're trying to build. Right? It's almost like Moneyball. Everybody knows we're not the strongest, we're not the biggest, but we do play fun offense, and we have fun doing it through these celebrations, through top 10 offenses, through scoring. But we blow it in these situations that you're talking about, the conference championships.
I think those people would maybe I don't even think people know North Texas even that deeply. I don't think people did. They're just like, yeah, what have they done? That's it. That they don't know it because they haven't won. They're not even on the radar. It's not even North Texas loses. It's like I don't even hear about North Texas, right? That to me is the thing. In the same way, I don't think about Northern Illinois outside of that win they got over Notre Dame. What was their record last year, Aldo? Do you know Northern Illinois? No, you don't.
I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, but you don't know. You have no idea what they did with their season.
7-4.
Yeah, again, it could be 7-4, 6. They could have won 6. They could have won the bowl. I don't even know if they went to a bowl game. You don't know if they went to a bowl game. The thing is, you gotta do
right.
something when people are paying attention, right? Our chance to do something was there. The next time, if at all, will be the conference championship game because that's going to be on television, and then the one after that is a bowl game because that's when people care about. Those are the ones you care about.
When you start doing those wins, though, that's when you capture a generation of people that start opening up their wallets, start giving up.
Yeah.
You start catching the attention of sponsors.
Yes, I'm talking about nationally, right? Because you want to be associated with the winner, right? But like locally, it's you win the games. You win, so the diehards care. The diehards, start winning over people. People start going, having a good time. Winning is fun. It's infectious. You go to a game, they win. You go next week, right? You go the next week after that. People start caring. They start going to the game. They want to be associated with winning.
Right, and I mentioned it, I think, last week about you have generation of Mean Green fans. The genesis of these Mean Green fans when Dodge era, McCarney era, Littrell era, and now this current era of Eric Morris through not Dodge. Why did I say that? Daryl Dickey.
I don't know why you said Dodge. I was like, I guess he did win one game there, but I guess
one game. Game got
maybe he had too many whiskeys. Let me tell you about Dodge. He's underrated.
So you have like generation of fans that get created, and then like those dark periods, but that generation of fans become diehards and they carry over. And what you want.
What do you think of Todd Dodge? What'd you say? Okay. All right. Sorry.
I agree. And so you create these generations of diehards, and you're wanting to prolong that genesis, right? Where instead of just 1 year, right? When we think about McCarney, we think about 2013. When we think about Littrell, we think about maybe 2 seasons. And
I don't hate the Littrell years. There were some good years in there. We had a record-setting crowd in 2018. I would say like it's akin to basketball, and I know you don't like basketball. you turn off the TV at the time. But it was
I'll enjoy. But
yeah.
go ahead.
There was a group that loved those Johnny Jones years, and that was like loyal to him and those teams, and then and then like that's why it was such a beatdown. We lost everybody. A middle portion there where we had a terrible coach, right? And so it was great to see more winning when we had that one. And this is the way we got Daniel Robinson out here, ready to coach him up again. And I'm a little scared because I want it to continue, right? We want to continue. Speaking of brands and all this other stuff, we want to continue the reputation of North Texas to keep winning, right? Like North Carolina is more than Dean Smith and Roy Williams, right? They're continuance of like a program thing. There's a winning culture. They've won beyond those two, and because of those two, and they keep going, right? You want to be beyond a guy. You want to build a thing, right? Yeah. Alabama's one, yes, Nick Saban, but they also had Bear Bryant, and then they try to continue it in between, and they had some misses there. It starts this week, right? Just getting back to what we're saying. It's homecoming. We got a solid opponent. It's a rival, right? A team that's beat us 8 out of 14 times or whatever it is. Is that right? Yeah. We're 8-5. So this is the 14th game? 15th game. 14th game.
Yeah, I remember lots of Novembers watching them beat us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, so like they're on a 4-game winning streak. That's we beat them, right? We upset them. They're either 15th or 22nd, depending on your interpretation of the polls. You beat North Texas beats at North Texas, right? Great game. I flew up for that game, and I flew out the same day. It was great. Whiskey Field, good times. And then in the next season on the road at in San Antonio, we said, I think maybe we cursed them because I said if the game comes down to them throwing the ball against our freshman corner, and that's how they have to win the game, then I'm not going to be mad. And that's literally what happened, right? We had a 4th and 1 kind of snafu. We were that close to getting upset. And then you meet them again in the conference championship game, fall on your face, right? They win like 47-28, whatever the score was. So that's 2 in a row. And then the next year, after Littrell's fired, you get Eric Morse's first year, a loss. And then last year, I think this one was very upsetting. At UTSA, a very beatable, UTSA and North Texas can't stop anybody. Fired. That was the last game for the defensive coordinator, right? So they ran for like 600 yards. It was something ridiculous. Well, he's out. Now you have almost no excuses, right? All the things that made us lose last year, maybe call it on the road. Now we're at home, right? Defense with a terrible coordinator. Now we got a good one, right? Quarterback that was hurt. Our quarterback's not hurt, right? Running back room that was devastated in depth. Now we got 2 A1 starters right now, right? In McGill and Caleb Hawkins. So we feel good about it. All those excuses, I don't want to say excuses, but maybe reasons for losing last year, those are gone. I think North Texas is in a very good spot, very angry about losing last week, and I think UTSA, they had their angry game against Rice, right? They lost against Temple. Offensive coordinator loses his play calling duties. Jeff Traylor takes it over. That was their big, thing. Again, what are you going to do? Give it back to him now? Nah, it has to be Jeff Traylor. Nah, it has to be week 2. It's real easy to call plays when, Rice is devastated. They have no offense. Their starting cornerback gets kicked out of the game, whatever it is. You're like, okay, well, I'll dial up, throw a deep pass. Guys wide open, touchdown. What are you going to do when it's, Skylar Cassidy, dialing up a defense? He's angry that he had 500 yards scored against them. Everybody's hurt and upset that they got run on last week, and they want to take it out on you. I think that North Texas is going to come out mean and green. Hopefully they wear some green. That's the other thing, too, man. We were wearing black, we cursed ourselves. I said it. Nobody want to listen to me. I mean, like I say, I'm getting that good feeling, that green feeling, Maybe it's a little bit of this Cabernet Sauvignon right here.
I'm drinking Buffalo Trace, and the Buffalo Trace is telling me that.
Hold on. Wait.
Start coughing on that one. My pessimism is running rampant. My anxiety.
It's the problem since
is
you live in
high.
Seattle. There, you've been listening to too much Kurt Cobain. You got real grungy all the time.
So grungy, so angry, so emo. That I feel like I don't even know what to expect until I start seeing them play. I want them to be angry about the last game. I want them to hit as hard as they were hitting last week. we are questionable for 3 receivers.
Yeah.
So that's another area of concern. Will the other receivers step up?
Yeah, it's
Um,
Dorner. Who else is out?
was Wyatt Younger, Coleman, somebody?
Yeah.
One of the big ones.
Yeah. I mean, it's football. Somebody's got to step up. And, I'd like to see a little bit more from Simeon Evans. I think he has the dropsies. He's had the dropsies all season long. I think Cam Dorner has been very good, right? He's and not just because the family likes the show, but he has been good. He's been
Yeah,
taking that
he
spot.
was cutting up the South Florida defense.
Yeah.
Clutch catches.
Miles Coleman
Um,
obviously takes the short stuff, goes along with it. I think Landon Sides can definitely improve. I think he had a bad game last week, and he has a lot of talent, right? But he had a bad game. I think Wyatt Young has superseded him in that position there. Dalton Carnes has fallen off. I think he had a poor game. He was taking a lot of reps, last season, but I think he's fallen off a lot. There's opportunity for guys to step up and take it. As good as everybody that's played well has played, there's still not a game breaker, right? There's no Caleb Hawkins of the wide receiving core. I don't think that guy that can just make shouldn't plays, right? Like, oh, the ball's behind him, he made that
right.
catch anyway.
Yep.
Oh, two guys on him, doesn't matter. You made a grab or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, somebody's hanging all over him. Again, doesn't matter. We'll throw it to him.
And I think we're starting to get predictable, and that's where Eric Morris needs to come in and make the offense less predictable, right? Somebody's always running a Y cross. Somebody's always going to be running.
What's that, Mike? I'm gonna defend this again. I don't mean to interrupt you, but White Cross has been a staple of the air raid offense for 35 years. And you know what? You don't. No, I'm not gonna accept you that. Then you're like, hey, you know what? All these guys running deep all the time, throwing the ball. Like, yeah, dude, dude, that's the offense. That is the offense, and it's no, I'm not.
But he's always covered. Now he's always covered. Now that linebacker is drifting over and following the Y cross, and we saw that against South Florida. That's why
yeah, but I mean,
was hesitating to throw it down low.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. So like the thing is, if that's covered, another guy should be open, right? And I think like the way you stop the air raid offense is you sack the quarterback. You get like he's going back to pass, and then you hit him in the mouth, and that's what South Florida did. So I mean, I'm just gonna defend the White Cross. Eric Moore, still listen to Aldo. Run the White Cross. That's a staple.
More hitches.
That is a staple of the offense. That's ridiculous.
I want to see more scissor action. I want some switch calls. I want to see some smash out there. Some divide routes.
They do all those things. They run hitches. They run 8 all the time. They do all these things. So I mean, the thing is that like when it doesn't work, everybody's like, don't call that play. It's worked, right? Like they've scored on these, right?
Well, it's less about that, right? It's more about let's not be as predictable when you need to run it with Caleb Hawkins. Run it with Caleb Hawkins, right? Let him do what he does.
So
right?
I mean, yeah, I see that, but again, like I said, I going back because I was like, okay, let me rewatch this game because everybody's complaining about that. I didn't see it was bad. Simeon Evans is open. He missed it. And then like we could have ran it with Caleb Hawkins there at the 50-yard line. Yes, but maybe it only gets 2 yards. Maybe later, like later when we ran it with him and he fumbles the ball, maybe that happens too. Like that's a possibility. Again, like I don't think throwing the ball downfield is a bad thing. I think you got to do it better. I think everything. I take your point and I say yes. Don't just run a lazy white cross, right? Run it with crispness and ridiculous execution, right? Do it in a way that it can't be stopped. The way that,
right, make it a chess match. We know that linebacker is gonna drift with them, so let's do something else to take advantage of that linebacker.
Yeah, again, I think that play comes open if the right tackle and left tackle don't get beat, right? Both of those guys were coming to hit him in the face. If he has 2 seconds to read it, then that comes wide open. But as it was, he was like, I got to throw it now. And right now, it was an interception. I think that the answer was eat it. Right? So, like, to me, it was just the offensive line getting beat. That's, speaking of where we should spend our NIL money, on the offensive and defensive line. Football is old. It's very simple. You need to protect the quarterback and dominate the run game, and you need to stop those two things on the other side of the ball. The offensive
Protect our
line,
quarterback, get theirs.
yeah, it was getting eaten up. I think we saw our right tackle getting eaten up. I saw, our left guard getting eaten up a lot of times. And like I said, I posted an example of it, of Drew Messermaker making a play. But there was that other one where he avoids it and then throws it across his body to Miles Coleman. Hits him like as he's rolling right, and everybody's like, "Wow, what a play! He just hit him on there." Yeah, how about how he avoided a sack that was going to be a sure sack? Like we don't want.
And we talked about it that last week too. Is that he's one of the least sacked quarterbacks because he's extending the play. He's having to run out. He's having to do those heroics to make that happen and not get sacked. So
I'm concerned about that in as much as that UTSA has a good defensive line. I think we can, I trust our offense. We scored 36 points last week, right? Had 21 in the first half. I think what we need is a little bit more crispness from our quarterback, right? Like, he hasn't played amazingly well. He had a bad game against South Alabama, a terrible game against USF, because he turns the ball over, right? Whether or not it was all his fault or not, it's ultimately your decision to throw the ball, right? And sometimes a sack is a better play. Sometimes throwing the ball away is a better play. And he knows that and all the other good stuff, right? It's not like he's a bad quarterback, but I think he met a defense. Like, it's no coincidence that South Alabama has a physical defense, a physical defensive line, and South Florida does also. UTSA, same kind of deal. He's going to see a different level of it. And if this dude has designs on playing at the next level, that's going to be the norm. USF, UTSA, South Alabama are going to be light work. That's like preseason level NFL football, right? The windows are going to be even smaller and tighter. And, so that's it. I don't think that Drew Messmaker is a bad quarterback, and I don't think the season is lost based on one bad game. I think you need bad games to get better, right? I think.
Yeah, I think
your guy, right? Peyton Manning threw like 22 interceptions his first year in the NFL, and
yeah. Well, and I said that it's about time for him to get throw an interception, and by golly, he made up for it the whole season. I think he had a season high in passing yards.
Yeah, 336. Right?
So, and I think it's less to do with the game script because we were playing from behind, and more to do that he was still even with all his lumps, he's still taking advantage. He's still stepping up. He's still gunslinging, and that's what we want. We don't want somebody that falls apart, doesn't want to throw it anymore. Yeah. He stayed in there, and he's got that gunslinging mentality that I've always wanted. Austin Aune had that, and I applauded him for it. As inaccurate as he was, he wanted the ball, and he wanted to throw that ball.
I don't know. You're kind of these comparisons. It's here again. Like you're just like, you know what? He has that Todd Dodge. He's like, wait, what? What you say again? And it's like, okay. You want to like you talking about high school football? No, I got a college level and college coach. I feel like he's Todd Dodge level. He's like, okay. I don't.
As bad as he was, he still wanted to keep playing.
No, to me, we've seen bad games, right? Where you're like, this guy has not seen the field. I think that Drew Messermaker was seeing the field, right? Like that one, you can see he thought the guy was going to come up, and great play by the linebacker. Interception 1, interception 2. He's like, let me, like I said, I think it was a bad route by the wide receiver, but I can see what he's trying to do, right? And then the third one was just bad, right? That one is like, I'm trying to throw the ball, I'm going to get hit. You really shouldn't throw that ball. Now you know. Now you don't throw that one, or you throw it better and accurate, or throw it in the ground or something like that. But you can't throw an interception there. Okay, I think you learn best by going through it. And all that to say is that, like, North Texas still had a very good offense in the first half. He was dealing. He was throwing it well. He was getting the ball down the field. This offense is good. It's still powerful. It's still averaging, like 40 points a game, which is better than last year. It's averaging like 25 first downs a game, which is 2 more better than it was last year. We have 54 first downs on the ground, which is better than last year, because all of last year, we only had 84 first downs on the ground. So, like, this offense is moving. It's a very good one. It's not cranking out yardage like it was last year, but a lot of that is because it's been short fields. USF stop the thing that North Texas has been doing well, which is scoring off of turnovers. But they got turnovers. That's good. I feel like North Texas will get turnovers against UTSA. I think they will score. They will be more effective. I don't know that UTSA has a really good defense when it's all said and done. I think they have some questions in their secondary. They haven't been challenged by a team this good since Texas State, since Texas A&M. And I think they're going to try to run the ball, but I think Temple had a little template for how to stop Henry, and I don't think that Owen McCown is, he's not the best quarterback that we faced even this season, and I think that he's gonna throw an interception or two. I feel he threw one last season too, right? So like I feel like it's just gonna happen. It's what he does.
You just feel it. Well, and like we've mentioned before, North Texas defense is attacking, it's aggressive, and it is very opportunistic. And so we want to, they create the turnovers. It's not about luck. They create the luck. And we're going to keep seeing that. Yeah, those are my final thoughts. I want to win
because he threw an interception last year against us. There it is. I said it. I just didn't want, I was like, did he really? He threw 10 interceptions last year. He's thrown 4 this year. He threw 2 against Colorado State, 2 against Temple. And it's no coincidence that those are on the road.
Temple.
Yes, they were on the road. Threw them on the road. He throws interceptions on the road. I'm gonna look at his interceptions last year. He threw 2 against Florida Atlantic at home. Missed that one. 1 against North Texas at home. 2 against Army on the road. 1 against Coastal Carolina on the road. And then I think what's not shown here, I'm not looking at. He threw 2 interceptions. Yeah, there it is, at East Carolina on the road. He turns the ball over on the road. That's what he does.
Yeah, if
Marshall in the bowl game.
If UTSA had South Florida's defense, they would be 5-1, but they don't, and they're not. You're trying to convince me to be positive and optimistic about.
I'm not trying to convince you to be nothing. I'm a positive guy. You're real sad and grungy,
I'm holding a grudge. Yeah, we need to be. I'm tired of losing to UTSA. We need to beat them. No matter what happened last week, I don't care. We need to beat them because they suck.
What is the point total that would make you feel? You know what? I feel 85% better.
100 points.
Just 100 to 0.
To 0.
Yeah,
-2.
Yeah, I don't think that we're gonna get a shutout, but it'll be real great to get a shutout. You know what I mean? And
against UTSA, yeah, like I said, I don't care what has happened this season. It can be the first game of the season. I want to crush them.
I'm trying to remember our biggest win against them, and I think it's like 48 to something. I'm trying to figure out where they are. I have to look up on Winsipedia just so I can cite my sources here because I can't remember. Our biggest win was 45-3. That's the 2019. That sounds right. Their biggest win was 49-17. And they also won 48-27 and 48-27 twice. 2 times they've done that. Yeah. So, our largest margin of victory, 42 points in 2019. Theirs, 32 points. Our longest win streak was 3. Theirs is 4. So, there you go.
Break the streak. I'm tired of it.
Yeah. I like to break that record. 45 points. We got to beat 45 points. That's what we did. We said, all right, so I'm sorry, 42 points. 45-3 in 2019. I think we can. I think it's possible. We won 51-0 against Lamar, you know what I mean? We won what was it? I forget that 59-10. 59-10 against Washington State. Like, is Washington State worse than UTSA? I don't think so. Washington State was they lost by a touchdown to Ole Miss on the road, right? So I mean, come on, Yeah, I like it. I like to see it. Let's get a 50. Let's get a 60. Let's go 60-3. Can we do that?
60 burger.
Yeah, can we do that? That'd be great. That would mostly wash the bad taste out of my mouth. I'd feel real
67.
Yeah, it'd feel like a double brush Listerine kind of deal. I'm like, 60.
Yeah, I got
60-3.
Right here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this booze-filled episode of the podcast is over. This has been the Mean Green Nation podcast. Do us a favor, go to meangreennation.com, read all the stuff, go to YouTube, like and subscribe, all that other stuff, or whatever. You do the things. That lets us know. Comment on it. We like the comments during the chats, the game day chats. Those have been getting more populated, I guess. Those have been fun. It's been good to talk about the Mean Green, to enjoy the season as we've been going on. I know some people just like to comment on the shows. Yeah, stuff. Just keep doing it. That lets us know that you like it. Like it at least. Lets us know you're getting it. If you're like me, I don't really comment on all the stuff I read. I don't always do that. I don't respond to emails all the time. But it is useful.
So how
Sometimes
do you get
I do it.
subscribed to the Substack? You might have said it and I wasn't listening, but how do you get to
You
the
go.
Substack?
You go to meangreennation.com. That's it.
And then
go
you
there.
click the
Subscribe.
button.
Yeah,
Subscribe.
that's it. Put your email in there and just subscribe.
I don't subscribe to Mean Green Nation, y'all.
Yeah, we know you. We know you do. Because you're up there in the northwest.
Ivory tower.
Yeah.
Because there's no sun. Everybody's pale.
Yeah, it's not a tower. There's just your reflection there, but you're just looking in the mirror.
Look at my IPAs.
Yeah, I mean, this guy over here, he's just real sad. I don't know.
Fisherman sweater. Beanies.
Wait, so you went to a bar today? Is that what you said? You were at the bar just hanging out? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Wednesday bar?
Vendor socials. So vendor took us out, got some drinks, did some sprint planning, done planning a project, and so we went out to celebrate, and the Mariners are on TV, and so had a burger, had some beer.
Yeah, it's funny, the thing, because like I said, the perspective changed, right? Like I moved from Texas to the Middle West here of America, and people, they're like, oh, I hate the Cubs, they're talking NL Central stuff. I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, I guess. Like, I always hated the Mariners, and they're like, who thinks about the Mariners? Like, I've never even seen the Mariners, but the Mariners are in the AL West, right? Like, Texas got to go play out there in Seattle every once in a while, and then those games start at like 10 p.m. You know what I mean? Just like that's part of it. That's why I think about the Mariners. I've seen Ichiro a bunch of times. We watched the Mariners play because they play Texas. But I know I never think of the Pirates. I never think of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Why would I think about the Pittsburgh Pirates? I don't think about them at all. We're like, just it's not a team that I care about. But they're like, oh yeah, I love when the Pirates come to town. I was like, what? Who?
Yeah.
What? Where? Why? When? Why would you think about that?
So a lot.
The Reds.
First day on the job, people complaining about the Seattle SuperSonics. Lots of sports fans here. They got the Huskies. They got the Mariners. They got Seattle Reign and the Sounders. And whatnot.
Yeah.
Good sports town. But yeah, my coworkers are Mariners fans. So I'm like, yeah, go get you a World Series. They've never gotten it. And again, yeah, I never think about the Mariners. Being a Rangers fan, I never think about the Mariners. It's always the cheat stros. I hate.
Well,
the Astros.
But you've watched Mariners games. Like you could say, like, because I've watched them because I've been watching the Rangers, and now you live. I get it. But like I'm saying, living here, it's like I've watched more Pirates games than I ever had in my life before. Because I guess why
whole places.
Yeah, because I've gone to the baseball games here and I'm watching. There I am watching the Pirates. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I only heard of them in concept. I never really think of them as a real team. But that's how it goes. Apparently, other places are places too. Turns out. Again, ladies and gentlemen, y'all stay safe out there and all the other stuff. And there's like a government shutdown, and all the other stuff. Lots of crazy stuff happening in the real world. Tip your waiters; they might be UTSA alums.
Nice to everybody is what he's saying.
Yeah, give them a little extra. Give them 25%. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Mean Green Nation podcast. Thanks for listening. Go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.